Hey, hey. Welcome to Newly Defined Counseling, Coaching, and Consulting. I am your girl, Coach Viva B. I have been under the weather, hence coming on, just doing a second video. Can you believe it? I know the first video kind of did an introduction, kind of talking about, some of the things that I would be covering during this particular video or doing on the channel. Let me say that. And your girl got sick. Isn't that ironic how every time, well, I won't say every time, how there are some times that when we think in our mind that we have some things that we're going to talk about or things that we're going to do, and something happens. Whether it's the weather, whether you get sick, whether it's an emergency, like any of those things, something happens. And it just so happened for me, my husband got sick about 2 weeks ago, and I wound up getting sick last Thursday, and I am just recovering, getting better, right? So it kind of segue into some of the things that we were talking, well, that I was sharing with you before in my initial introduction, coming in. And one of those things is making sure that you take care of yourself. Like, what kind of team are you building? So I'm going to make this real quick. I'm not going to stay on long. Um, I wrote some notes. I hope I don't sound overly nasally. Is that a word? Yeah, overly nasally. So I hope I don't sound overly nasally, but I'm sitting at home quarantined. Isn't that crazy? I'm a little quarantined. And I was like, well, before I go and make me something else to eat, let me do a quick video because I promised I was coming on as transparent as possible. So let's talk about it. So there are three things that I am going to kind of talk about today from a coaching perspective, hey, let's just have this conversation, girlfriend, guy friend, or whatever perspective. But one of the things that I kind of want to talk about, or the title that I want to talk about, is who's on your team? Like, who do you have on your team? I'm not a sports person, but I know, when people are watching sports, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, soccer or whatever, it's a team. You have like a team. And on that team, certain players play a certain or a particular position, right? Again, I'm saying I don't know sports, so don't come at me about what I'm about to say. Okay. um, Surely you wouldn't have, I guess in football, surely you wouldn't have the kicker be the running back? I don't know. Y'all tell me. I don't know. Um, there are different positions on a team. So let me just go there. So what do I mean by that? So the topic is who's on your team. For me, I have a team, right? One of the teams that I have, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune um, dis dis-ease in my 30s, right? I am now in my 50s. When I was in my 30s and diagnosed with the autoimmune disease, um, I went to the specialist that they told me to go to, and I'm going to talk more about that later on. But I went to the specialist. I went to two different specialists in two different states, and the first specialist I went to, he sat there and he just scratched his head because he was like, "It seems like it's coming up in your blood, but I don't see it. Like, I just don't understand it." Okay. And so then I went to another specialist, which was 3.5 hours away. And that specialist was like, I see it, it's in your blood, but when I'm doing x-rays and when I'm doing all of these other things, it's not coming up as to what I think it is. So I think it's this instead of that. And so I'm going to suggest that you do two things. One, work on eating differently. And two, make sure that you work out so you can lose weight. I said, okay, cool. So I really didn't pay any attention about eating the right way. I should have. So anyway, now that I'm here, um, years later, because now I'm in my 50s, um, the blood work was done again, and that same autoimmune dis-ease came up again last year. So I went to another specialist. So this is specialist number 3. And this specialist didn't run any tests, didn't do any type of x-rays or anything like that. This specialist automatically said, well, you know what? If you want a good quality of life, you need to get on this medication. These are 3 different types of medications that I could tell you about. This one can make you blind. This one can mess you up if you drink any type of alcoholic beverages. And this one, you can take this one. This one will be real good for you, blah, blah, blah. I'm looking at my husband's looking at me, and I'm like, so I tried the medication. Of course, I did my research on the medication. It freaked me out what the side effects were, as opposed to what the medication was supposed to do. I talked to my spiritual mom, and she gave me some great sound advice in regards to the medication, and some other things. I'm so grateful for that. Thank you, Mom. And I proceeded to start taking this medication. So I'm taking the medication, and by month 2, the situation that was not bothering me, not heavily, became worse, like worse while on the medication. Okay. So I'm sending a message to the specialist, like, hey, this is not working. My PCP, which is my personal care, well, my physician, is also referring me out to other specialists and getting other work and stuff done. And so I'm going to all of these specialists and not getting the results that I'm requesting. So what do I mean by that? So one of the specialists that she sent me to was a pulmonologist, because I was having a lot of issues with shortness of breath. And so I told the pulmonologist, I said, and he ran a lot of tests and stuff too. So when he ran one test, he did a CAT scan on my lungs. And when he did the CAT scan on my lungs, he was like, there are 2 nodules that came up on your lungs. This is the measurement of the nodules. But we're going to wait for another year and see what happens. That's it. Like, is there anything else I need to do? Like, what? So I went home and I'm like, okay, I didn't get my questions answered. He was very dismissive, very, I'm the doctor, I'm the specialist, so you do as I say type demeanor. And I'm a very clarity chick person, so it's okay. So this is what it is. What do I need to change? Do I need to change my eating habits? Do I need to, in conjunction with, is there any type of medication? Like, what is it that we need so we can combat this dis-ease, right? He was very, don't worry about it. Just, we'll see it in a year. It just so happened, something happened with my insurance. And so my primary care physician, my PCP, requested that I get another CT scan before that year was up. I was like, yeah. So I went ahead and I got that CT scan, and the results of that one was the nodules had grown a little bit. So then there was some concern for me. So I sent the pulmonologist an email in our portal. We have a medical portal that is HIPAA compliant, and said, hey, this was the finding of the most recent CT scan. I'm a little concerned. What advice would you give me? He emailed me back and said, just schedule an appointment to come and see me so we could just talk in person instead of emailing. I responded back to him again. I am very, very concerned. Um, what advice would you give me until I can get into the office to see you because of your schedule? And on top of that, the advice that you're giving me now, is that the advice that you would give yourself or a loved one who just got these results back from a CT scan? Him said to me, just schedule an appointment and we could talk about that in person. So I knew then, okay, this is not someone that I want on my care team. So again, I was asking you who's on your team, right? So if you play sports, oh, my hands are ashy. If you play sports, everyone has a position. So for me, for my life, that means that I needed to create a team that played a particular position in my life to give me a healthier and an abundant life, right? But that meant that I needed to, excuse me, that I needed to do some things too. But in order for me to do those things, I needed some questions answered. I needed to know what proper tools, I needed some clarity. Okay. So for me, for my healthcare team, I have a massage therapist. Um, so it's not just, oh, self-care, self-care. Because of the autoimmune disease that I was diagnosed with, um, I made sure that I hired a massage therapist who I get massages often. And she knows me because I've shared my journey with her, my health journey, all of those things. And so she's even at the point now where she knows, okay, you need a lymphatic massage today. Oh, this looks a little off. We're going to do a different type of massage today. Like, she's A1 list. That's her specialty. So I give her, um, the ability to do her job. Also on my team, I have a chiropractor. This particular chiropractor is a little different than just doing adjustments. This particular chiropractor, whom I love, like I love my team dearly, she also knows all of my health conditions. And so when I come in, she's paying attention to my body. And I get like cupping done with her. I get red light therapy done with her. And because of the autoimmune disease, I keep saying disease, y'all, that I was diagnosed with, she's very, she uses a lot of wisdom on adjustments, if you will, like cracking my bones and all that stuff. She uses a lot of wisdom with that. And most of the time when I go to her, I get more red light therapy and cupping than anything else. I will tell you, I had another chiropractor prior to her, and she was absolutely amazing too. Let me be real. She was absolutely amazing. My husband just happened to find this new chiropractor. They're twin sisters. And he was like, let's just go over there and try it. And so I went over. And so she just has a little more modern things, the red light therapy. She does cryotherapy. She does cupping. She's all about, healthy life, healthy living, that type of thing. So a chiropractor is definitely on my team. I was afraid of chiropractors at one time. It's like, oh God, because you hear all these horror stories. But when you get you a good one, you got a good one. So I will say the one that I had prior and the one that I have now, they're both good. They're both good. So I have my chiropractor on my team. I have a massage therapist on my team. I have a naturopathic doctor on my team. They are 4.5 hours away from where I live. Matter of fact, they're in Georgia, they're in Atlanta. And I winded up when my husband started me going to them last year in July of last year. And so when we started with them, of course, we purchased a package. And so my package is not over until July of this year, I believe, and then there'll be like follow-up visits or what have you. So with that being said, with my naturopathic physician that's in Atlanta, I will be transitioning eventually to where I live now. Especially when this package is over with our contract, instead of having to drive, 4.5, 5 hours for doctor. So then I have that on my team. Today, I hired another primary care physician because I did not have one here where I am now. I'm in Nexton, which is South Carolina. It's a town called Nexton. You might as well say Charleston, South Carolina. I'm close to Charleston, South Carolina now. And so I had the opportunity of being referred to this amazing physician that has a membership opportunity for me, which means I have access to her at all times. I think that's amazing. I don't know about you, but for me, growing up, I was like a guinea pig in the medical field. My mother passed away when I was 3. We'll talk about that later. I do not know who my father is. I was raised in in the foster care system mostly. So, when you go to the doctor and they ask you about your medical background, who in your family had this, who in your family had that? Well, I don't know. So then I became the guinea pig. If my big toe hurt, they wanted to run all these tests to see what was going on. After a while, it can be a little taxing on you if you're feeling as if though you're the guinea pig, but there are no results. Okay. Hence the reason for creating my team, this year. So, and then I'll talk about like insurance and non-insurance, that kind of stuff too. So I had a consultation with a physician today, and she goes by membership. And I have insurance, but she goes by membership for those who don't have insurance and those who do have insurance. But the beautiful thing about her, what I really, 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 really love, is she specializes in autoimmune diseases. She specializes in, like I said, I'm in my 50s, so she also specializes in that age bracket. She specializes in weight loss, and she's a nutritionist as well. So we had the opportunity to sit and talk, and she let me ask questions, and then she asked me some questions, and then she told me how her program operates. And I was like, oh my gosh, finally somebody who gets it and who gets me. The beautiful thing about that is, with me being in her program, I have access to her. So for example, if you're sick or you got something going on, you need to see the doctor, you call the doctor's office to schedule an appointment, and they're like, oh, Dr. X doesn't have any availability until next Friday at 6 p.m. Well, I'm hoping by next Friday at 6 p.m. I don't have this concern. You don't want to spend that big amount of money going to the ER. And sometimes the doctor's office may say, but you can come in and see Dr. Y. Sometimes Dr. Y may be just as busy. Well, in this program, because she takes a less amount of clients, I have a number that I'm able to reach her and have a conversation with her and be seen by her. And when I'm going in to be seen, it's not a rushed appointment. Like, she takes the time to spend with me. So we're going to have anywhere between an hour and an hour and a half, so I can get the proper care that I need, so I can use the tools that she provides for me and that the rest of my team provides, so I can live a healthy and abundant life. So she's on my team. Okay. So then, of course, I have the breast clinic, right? To get my mammograms and, all of my annual things done. And then, of course, I have the female physician for the OBGYN, to get my work done with that. And the beautiful thing about this team is I'm constantly adding. I also have in a standby on-call therapist as needed. Okay. So I have a soundboard with that. So that's my healthcare team for now, and I'll keep adding more on my team as I go through my health journey. So my question for you, so that's my first team. My second team, of course, is my tribe. I call it my tribe. Those are my girlfriends. Those are my loved ones, the ones who um, love me so much that they are going to cover me in prayer, that they're going to tell me the truth, that they're not going to pacify me, you know what I mean? But they love me unconditionally, and accept me for me, but don't accept my behavior. Does that make sense? You know how sometimes you can have a friend, and no matter what you say you're going to do, they right there with you. We down like 4 flat tires. You fight, I fight. You shoot, I shoot. You go to jail, I go to jail. You die, I die. Lies. Lies like, I ain't going to jail with you. I ain't dying with you. I ain't, nah, don't get me wrong. I got you 100%. I got your back. But you gonna get checked too. You know what I mean? And it's the same way for me. So I have those people, that tribe of mine that, because none of us are perfect, but we're able to be honest with one another, and we're able to be transparent with one another, and we can love one another through it. So, for example, if I done popped off at somebody and I misrepresented my brand, which is myself, we'll talk about that in another video. I have some very close people to be like, okay, you know what, Viva, you was out of line. That was wrong. Now, not the people that you were out of line, I don't want to be your friend no more. I'm going to stop talking to you for a year. I'm going to stop talking to you for months because blah, blah. Nah, I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about them real ones that be like, you know what? You were out of line. So what you going to do to get this together? Like, what's your plan? What tools you need? Like, what we doing? Where we're able to feed into one another, and none of us are empty when we leave the presence of each other. Does that make sense? So I know there's a couple, another couple that my husband and I'm peeping out my window because I see somebody walking. There's another couple that my husband and I, we do everything together. Like, we on vacation together. Them our people, man. They family. One thing that I love about them is whenever we're in the presence of one another, we're able to be transparent, men and women. We're so transparent with one another. But when we leave the presence, there's something that we receive. There was a positive deposit that we receive. Like, all of us leave out of each other's presence full. Like, we've learned something. It's never something where there's a bunch of negativity. So check your friend team. Like, when you leave from your friends, are you always drained and empty? Like, do you always feel depleted? Do you feel like you can't be vulnerable with them? Do you always feel like you're the strong one? You can't be vulnerable with them, but they're always vulnerable with you, and they're always dumping on you. Don't get me wrong. There's a season where one friend may be stronger and the other one may not, and then that season may change where it's the opposite. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that those things cannot happen, but I'm asking, are you in a situation where that happens all of the time, where it's draining you mentally, physically, emotionally? Then that's when you probably need to step back for a little bit and just kind of rethink that and revamp that relationship and see what position that person might play in your life or your team. Does that make sense? Okay. And so then so we got my care team, we have my friend team, and then the third team that I'm going to talk about today would be my spiritual team. For me, you heard me talk earlier. I'm a spiritual mother. I have a spiritual father. I have spiritual mentors. Of course, I have my pastor and his amazing wife. But I make sure that I'm surrounded by, because I am a believer. I believe in Jesus Christ, all of those things. And so I make sure that I am surrounded by other like-minded people too, um, to whom I'm getting my spiritual advice from, other than, of course, me, and my relationship with the Lord and reading the word for myself too, right? But to make sure that I have that accountability for others to hold me accountable and vice versa. So right now, that's my team. And I was like, you know what? I haven't done another video yet. So let me come here and talk about who's on your team. So I would love for you, this is a coaching moment. I would love for you, even if if you journal, I hope that you do. If you don't journal, take out a piece of paper. Journaling is so good. I'm gonna do a video about journaling too, right? Or maybe you don't journal. Maybe you vlog. Maybe you just talk in your cell phone. Maybe you record yourself, anything, right? But if you journal, um, make a list or get on your computer or your phone. Make a list of the things that you need. Like, take note of what's going on in your life, your health, your mental health, your spiritual health, your relationships, any of those things. And what are those things that you need? And what teammate or what positions do you need for those particular teams that you need in your life? So what do I mean? For my health team, I know that I needed a specialist for the dis-ease. I know that I needed a massage therapist. I know that I needed to have a therapist on call. I knew that I needed particular physicians who specializes in particular things on my team, because I am now advocating for my health and my life. And I wish this was something that I knew to do years ago. But sometimes when you feel like somebody is the end all be all when it comes to a physician, and because they've gone to school for that degree, and so of course you expect them to know things, sometimes it hinders you from asking those questions. And I have experienced, unfortunately, and I hope and pray that other people may not have experienced what I did in the health field, but I have experienced some things that I should not have experienced even as a Black female. The expectations was that my pain tolerance I should have a higher pain tolerance. Or when I say I'm hurting, the attention um, did not, I did not get the same treatment as some of my other counterparts that don't look like me in certain situations. And at that time, I did not know how to advocate for myself, because I never wanted to come across as the angry Black female. I wanted to come across as, I'm hurting too. I need some help here. And I didn't know how to communicate that effectively. Now that your girl is all grown up, I know how to communicate that effectively. And so I know, okay, if I happen to visit someone or if I go to a physician, we may not be a good fit. And so now I know, like with the pulmonologist that I had, I fired him. Like, I'm not going to continuously pay you. And yes, I do pay him when the money comes out of my check for insurance. I'm paying for insurance, and then I'm paying whatever percentage my insurance does not pay to him. I'm not going to continue to sit here and pay you, and you're not giving me the services that I deserve, nor the services that I need. You can't even answer my questions. But you want me to drive 3 hours back to you and pay an additional $50 copay for you to tell me what you could have just sent me in an email to say it wasn't anything major. You see what I'm saying? So sit and really think about what you need in your life and be realistic and use wisdom with it. But what you need in your life and what you're not getting. Now, you can't expect for the doctor to, drive to your house, and let's be realistic about it. So sit and think about the things that you need, and then look at the team that you have in place right now for that. And if that team does not provide the realistic assistance or services that you need, maybe it's time to probably move some people around or move some positions around or find you another teammate to come on to help you with this amazing thing called life that we've been blessed with. So I feel like I've been rambling. I hope this has been helpful. Like, who's on your team? Pay attention to that from a health standpoint, from a spiritual standpoint, from a physical standpoint. For those of you who are working out and hitting the gym, like I'm going to the gym now. Well, I can't go this week, but I'm going to the gym now. So I'm building a team to help me as far as my body goes. Right. So that means a trainer, that means a program, those type of things. I want to start eating healthier and eating more whole foods. So I'm creating a team for that. And it depends on what that looks like, depending on each individual person. So that doesn't mean, and the other thing for my health team too is, thank you to my husband. I love you. I appreciate you so much. Because of the dis-ease, he wanted to make my life a little easier. And so we hired a house cleaner. That about drove me crazy the first time because I was raised that we clean our own houses. Don't nobody be coming up in here cleaning our houses or doing anything. And so I thought that I was OCD. Baby, let me tell you something. When she came up in here that first time, and I know I clean. My kids would tell you, they'd be like, oh, good Lord. Well, mama said we're going to clean up. That's an all day event. When she came up in here that first time and she cleaned and I was going around, looking at what she did, I had to sit down and scratch my head. I was like, what have I been doing all these years? Like, I thought I was the master of cleaning. Like, people would come to my house and be like, we can eat off your floor because they knew that everything in my home was going to be clean. But she came in and did her thing. And I was like, okay, you know what? That takes less time off of me. It will not affect me physically like it was before. Because I would clean so much all day long until by the time I finished, my hands were swollen, my wrists were swollen, my arms was hurting, and I couldn't do anything for a couple of days. I'm just scrubbing. We were taught use elbow grease. So I was scrubbing and cleaning everything, cracks and crevices and, all the things how we were taught to clean. But when girlfriend came up in here and did her thing, I was like, nope, I'm good. We go together real bad. So she's also on my team. So that's one less thing that I have to be worried about. Hair flowing in my face. I didn't even did my hair. I just threw my hair back in a ponytail. But ask yourself, that's where I was going. Ask yourself, what type of team do you need in whatever situation for your personal life? And then I want you to look at, because I can hear some people say, well, I can't afford all that. You're absolutely right. So I don't want you to look at it from a financial standpoint. You may be able to have people on your team where you can barter. Now, I know with physicians, that's not going to work. Right. But maybe with other things, like I have a girlfriend, she has a production company where she, people write books and she can help them, get the books produced and all that stuff. Well, we barter a lot of things from what I do and from what she does. We can barter some things. She does websites, things of that nature. So we can barter. So get creative. Check with your, if you have insurance, check with your insurance. The way that I was able to get the massages on is my specialist for my dis-ease wrote a prescription saying that it was mandatory that I needed a massage at least twice a week. So he did a medical prescription for me, which in turn kind of helped me be able to try to start working on getting reimbursed for some of the things that I'm paying for when it comes to massages. So I'm not telling you go out there and get all broke. That's not what I mean. I mean, just start looking at what you need on your team. whether it's health wise. If you can't start there, start with your friends. If you can't start with that, start from another area that you feel that you need to make sure that you're going to get the accountability, and it's going to aid you and push you and catapult you into living the abundant life that you deserve to be living while you're living, right? So I hope this helps in my sick moments. I hope that this helps. I hope that it'll be beneficial to someone. And in the meantime, if you have not joined this channel, please go ahead and click and subscribe so you can go ahead and get notifications for when I come on. My goal is to try to do a video once a week. I said that's my goal, but your girl had got the cooties. So also, if you make sure you subscribe and like the video, if you would like me to cover other topics, right? Send me some information in the comments and let me know what you would like to be covered, what you would like for me to cover. Give me some information on that, and let's just get going. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope that it has been beneficial for you. I hope that you're taking the time to really start taking care of yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, all of those things. Let's get it. Let's live out loud. Again, my name is Coach Viva B. I am your coach. I am also a licensed therapist in the state of South Carolina for newly defined counseling, coaching, and consulting. And I am also a consultant. And I just want to thank you so much for allowing me to take some of your time in your amazing life to just drop some tidbits. I hope it is beneficial to you, and I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Until next time, take care and goodbye.